that's my heartbeat, that's my passion and that's most of the audience that's gathered here today. We love using the internet in creative ways to grow businesses, our own, other people's. That's what I've been doing for 13 years now. I keep track of it because that's how old my son is, who was about to be born when I went full-time on the internet. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. But first lesson I want to give you guys is one of the most useful things that you can do while you're here at ASD is ask good questions. Because I promised in the title of this presentation, they asked me to help you guys make full use of the event and to teach you some creative strategies to grow your business. And I threw that word exponential in there, and I think some of the things I'm going to teach you guys today or expose you to truly could exponentially grow your business, whatever you're in. And just so you guys know a little bit more about me, I want to talk just a little bit why I do what I do. I spent, as many of us do, the first half of my life kind of finding myself. Like, why am I here? What was I made for? What is it that I was meant to do with my life? And I just turned 47 a few days ago, so arguably we're at the halfway point, right? I mean, you know, over 100 maybe, but okay, we're at the halfway point. I want to spend the second half of my life losing myself and helping entrepreneurs. That's what I was made to do. And that's not my concept, to find yourself, lose yourself. I think that's a John Maxwell thing. But it resonates with me. And I'm blessed. I know a lot of people that never do quite figure out the reason they were put on the planet. I'm telling you guys, I've got it. And for me, just so you know a little bit about me, it's God first, then my wife and family, and then you guys. Amen. This is what my heart, thank you. That's my heartbeat, that's my passion. I hope it resonates with some of you guys, but even if it doesn't, even if you think, oh, the Jim's that crazy guy that talks about God every time you speak, I promise, I'm not going to beat you up with scripture or anything, but that's what fuels me. And I believe the greatest business book ever written, and I promise I'm not going to preach, but the greatest business book ever written is the Bible. And if you don't believe me, check it out, because that's where the whole foundation. You don't have to be a Bible believer. I'm not trying to get the Christians fired up. I mean, I happen to be one, but I'm telling you guys, even if you're not, I don't care where you're from, what your belief system is, what your worldview is. We can sit down and have a great conversation. I can pull things out of that book that we're treating them like there's some kind of new and strange and, oh, wow, look at this new concept. No, the Hebrews have understood that for 4,000 years. I mean, they've been, you know, every good business principle is already in there. So that's what I've modeled my business and my life after. That's what I credit my success for. That's all the preaching I'm going to do. I apologize if I made anyone nervous at all or uncomfortable. I'm really kind of a likable guy no matter what your background or world belief system is. So I'm not going to beat you up with that anymore. We talked about asking good questions. I'm going to give you guys some specific questions. As you're working the floor, well, let me ask you another question. How many of you are a little overwhelmed by this whole thing so far, right? Okay, now how many of you didn't put your hands up the first time and you want to be honest and yeah, it's overwhelming. Come on, seriously? I mean, it's just huge. And all these strange faces, and I know half of us are introverts. We'd rather be at home figuring out a way to do this on our keyboards, right? I mean, who's with me, right? And I'm going to stop asking you to raise your hands in a minute, I promise. But this is a very intimidating atmosphere. But if you just make one or two or maybe a handful of connections with people that you can work together and build something together as a result of this, it will have been a huge success. And I'm going to give you some examples of that specifically. But the question I want you guys asking as you work this room and work the floor, see, the good thing about entrepreneurs is we love talking about our businesses. And we already demonstrated that, right? We love talking about our businesses. So you can go up to literally anyone in this building right now and say, so, what brings you to ASD? Make it a goal. I have a little challenge for you. Make it a goal. Let's do this. Every time you check your smartphone today or tomorrow, don't do it until you've asked somebody that question. So, what brings you to ASD? Because I promise you, you will thank me at some point for having had the discipline to approach other people and just open a conversation. What brings you to ASD? No matter what's going on that smartphone right now, it's more important to be building relationships. And I hinted at one of the ancient Hebrew principles of building successful businesses. It's relationships. It really is. I mean, we've got all the technology now. We've got the internet, and I'm an internet marketing geek. I understand pay-per-click and search engine optimization, and I do all that, build web pages. At the end of the day, your success in business is about relationships. It's about the people you know. As one of my mentors, Daniel Lappin, says, your capacities to succeed in business is directly correlated and tied to how many people would pick up the phone if you called them at 3 in the morning and said you needed help. Think about that for a second. The two are tightly tied together. How many people would take your phone call at 3 in the morning and say, yep, I'm there for you? I mean, the list, how many names are on that list? That is your capacity to succeed financially in a virtuous, ethical way. Now, you can rob a bank without any friends, right? I'm talking about virtual, ethical business building models. The people you know, the connections you make. So I'm encouraging, ask good questions while you're here. Everybody likes to talk about their business. If you go to the mall after you get home this weekend and you walk down there, say, hey, so what brings you to the mall? People are going to think you're nuts. Don't do that. But here, if you walk around saying, what brings you to ASD? You're going to engage in some of the most interesting conversations. Here's another great couple questions to ask, a couple of my favorites. What are you working on, and how can I help? Those are powerful questions. I like to ask my team that. I've got a team now of, we've got a team of about 70 people. Only a couple of them are employees. And, Kat's one of them. She's on my team, right? She's helping us create content and helping us educate people on how to use the internet in creative ways. She's on my team. And one of my favorite questions to ask when I get a chance to connect with the people on my team is, what are you working on, and how can I help? That's a great way to get a conversation going in a good positive direction. Make it about the other person. And maybe it's not anything you can do to help, but maybe it's someone you know. So I'm not talking about the old networking thing. One of the questions someone asked me before they came to this event was, Jim, how many business cards should I bring? I want to bring a big stack. I want to make sure I bring enough. I'm like, I'm not bringing any. But I'm going to collect a whole lot of contacts from people that I can't wait to connect with later, because I'm going to have conversations. One of the things I'm going to share with you guys today is the best business card you can ever have, though. I do like business cards, but it's not the things that are about this size. It's something different, and I'm going to share that with you guys as part of our presentation. Okay, a couple housekeeping things. You only have to write down one thing today. If you got your pen out and your paper and you're waiting for Jim to say something that's worth writing down and you haven't yet, just write this one thing down, and that's all you need to write down. SilentJim.com. That's a website, silentjim.com/ASD. And I've got my good buddy Steven, who's back there. He's going to update that website. If I mention, we've got a bunch of links that I'm going to mention today, and those are all on there. If I mention anything else, he's going to add it to it. So any important links or websites or tools that I referenced, they will be at silentjim.com/ASD.